Okay, have a great interview, bro.
I ain't never seen Nipsey with a Tupac rag on his head before though. But if he,
I like the
if
pitch.
I'm not saying, but if he wore it like Pac, that's how it would look.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's
I
true.
never seen him wear the Pac. These niggas is creative right here. They got
It's a dope picture though, man.
Yeah. Like tattoo.
What's up, man? It's your boy Paul P. I serve God. I'm not God. This is just my opinion. And welcome to another episode of the Nothin and Somethin podcast. And today we have a special guest. We have the big bro, the one and only Cowboy in the building. What's up, bro?
Sir. Back at it. What up, G? You know what it is.
Man. How you doing, bro? What's poppin'? What's going on, bro?
Oh, shit, just came back from a vacation. We was in Florida, went down there to make some money, turned it into not a vacation, a paycation. So, went out there to make a couple little runs, and we was down at Sun State Customs. So, shout out to Sun State Customs. I went down there and I learned a lot of stuff. I learned how to do a lot of rebuilding of cars. We had a 60 Chevy, 62, 63, any type of Chevys. I learned how to paint, learned how to do some fabrication.
Wow.
I learned a lot. I was in school, you know what I mean? So what turned out to be like a couple week little adventure turned into a couple months of really learning. I learned a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing, bro. Yeah. I mean, every time I see you, bro, you tell me about something different.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, yeah. I never knew someone, man, who like stay as busy as you. Yeah. And I mean, it don't be just like something you just trying to create. Cause I know of dreamers. I know of a lot of dreamers. People talk about stuff, but you never see it come into fruition, right?
Yeah.
But the things you be talking about, you actually have done. You're doing it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's different right there, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that comes with, I was telling my grandma today, that is when you put it in God's hands, then it make it easier. That, that dribble, you know what I mean? So life is a lot easier when you start putting it in his hands, and then you go from there. When I quit trying to lead the way, and I start saying, you know what, I give up on this. I'm gonna put it in God's hands, and everything worked out better. You know what I mean?
Amen to that, brother.
So I've been blessed to be able to travel. We actually drove down to Florida, dropping a load off. Wind up coming back to LA and drove back again. So we went up and down. We went up and down from one coast to the other. So we was at Pensacola Beach, and we were in the water way on that coast. Wow. Then a few days later, we was already down here in Venice Beach on our coast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we went from coast to coast, and the drive was good because we like to look at the mountains and look at the nature, look at everything. So, yeah, I enjoyed myself. Yeah.
Wow.
And then now one time when when I went to Florida, we was in Orlando for a while, everybody had smiles. Everybody was happy. It was a different feeling where, I was out there. I didn't look over my shoulder not one time.
Wow.
Not one time did I had any type of fear where, in LA, every car that passed by, you on swivel. You looking at the car, you watching your back, you looking over here, you just seeing just like when I pulled up at the studio today, I'm like, Paul, what the hell? It's like, get down to LA, like, wow, this like Grand Theft Auto. This shit's crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was good. I really needed that. I really need that vacation, and I got paid to vacation, and I got paid to learn something. So that was truly a blessing.
Man, that's a big time blessing, bro. Big time blessing. Bro, one thing that I was thinking about the other day, because I promise you, it happened again. I was just at Roscoe's. One thing that people don't forget. Well, let me go back. I was at Roscoe's, and it was two security guards there, and they was talking to a table, right? To a table of people. I'm just going to grab my food. They staring hard, and then one of the dudes walked up. It was like, hey, man, you Paul P, huh? I'm like, yeah. Like, yeah, man, I saw every episode you and Cowboy did, man. Man, I love your work, man. I love the podcast. I'm like, bro, I was thinking about it. I'm like, when it comes to YouTube, man, we got to be one of the best duos, bro.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We got to be, bro, because they it's all love, too. You hear negativity about other people. Like people may watch them, but you hear a lot of negative stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's always positivity when it comes down to our connection.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, bro?
We're the only ones that's really like genuine and really not in it for the clicks and not messy. You know, we stay not, you know, we're not with the gossip and all that. It's all about giving them some knowledge. You know, if you want to learn something, tap in with us. If you want to just hear the latest gossip or whatever, and you want to just dwell on the drama, then you can go to those channels. You know what I mean? I had a page that had like 60,000 followers, so I would go up and, you know, I had a lot of people, you know, that went up on that page. Yeah. So now I got a page that I'm dealing with that has under 1,000. So when I post on that page and I see people in the traffic and they say, bro, I seen you in Florida. I seen it. Like, wow. Oh man, that nigga seen me on my 900. It's only 900 people on this page. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's true people. You know what I mean? Versus a big blown up and, you know, you don't really, you get a lot of interactions or whatever, but it's not like that core of a small core, true fans. So when I see those people that tap in with me, they're not tapping in because I got 200,000 views. You know, some people, they're not even clicking. They only gonna click if you got a certain amount of views for them to even look at it. You know what I mean? So, so... yeah, it's been great. It's been a good, you know, God has been good to me. So, you know, like, amen. And I look at all the comments, people say, you know, Cowboy is talking about God. You know, that's all I can talk about because that's the only thing that saved me from so many different things. You know, when you pray for something and you see it happen, some people been praying and they ain't got no results, so they got discouraged. You know, I pray and I see results, and so I'm not discouraged. I'm happy. I'm smiling. You know what I mean? So I'm not on the internet fussing and fighting. You know, sometime last year I said, you know what, I'm gonna pray about it, and we're gonna pray about all my enemies or whatever and get them out the way. And over the year, you see they all them fell off, man. So they keep my name out their mouth because I sick God on them and they in worse trouble. You know what I mean? So it's been a learning experience for me. You know, so that's why I said, you know what, let me tap back in. You know. If I don't have much to say, I'm not gonna be around. I'm not looking for the camera. I'm not looking for the fame. You know, I want to have something to say, some substance, something that your audience could learn something from. Yeah.
Amen to that, brother. You know, you right too. When it come down to, it don't really matter if you have 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 people, even 1 million. Like a lot of people on YouTube, they thrive off of that. But the thing that I always focused on, and I hear you do as well, bro, is the main base of people who they're there no matter what. You know, they're not there for the viral moments. Yeah. They're not there. Oh, you went viral, so they're going to be a subscriber now. They're not there for that. Yeah. They're the 900 to 1,000 or even sometimes 1,500 people that every video you put out, they there supporting. Yeah. They writing in the chat. Yeah. They showing love every time you do a live. They there. Just like this one, I'm sure is going to be a lot of people flooding the live, which is cool. That's love, right? Yeah. You know that's not a everyday maybe watcher of the show. Yeah. But, you know, I love to show love to the ones who like they're here no matter what. And I'm sure that's what you're talking about, too, when it come down to like your channel and those people who are there riding with you, hearing the message, you know, taking from the message, you know, and learning from the message. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah, a lot of my true fans, you know, I done linked up and gave them my phone number. They called me straight up. You know what I mean? I don't need a big fan base, you know. Yeah. I get on other fan bases and other platforms just so my message can get further. You know what I mean? That's why I do it. It's not for, you know, the fame. It's not for the money. You know what I mean? Because when you look at all my videos, you look at me during the day when I do show people my lives or whatever, I'm always working. You know what I mean? God bless me with hands to work. So, you know, I don't mind grinding for my money. You know, I get out there and I make money. So, I pick up more skills, trades with my hands. So I learned how to do paint body. You need your car painted? Tap in. I'm painting cars. Can't be paint. You need some, you know, you need some body work. You need your motor pulled out, whatever, you know, tap in, you know. I'm out here working, you know what I mean? And like I said, I'm traveling. I'm living my life. I'm really enjoying the trip that God has put me on. You know, he's put me on a nice path, you know.
Man, amen to that, bro. Amen to that. You know, I wanted to ask, you know, is life a little different now? Like, from like kind of because you in Vegas now. So for the most part, so is life a little different, you know, from like being out there and having more peace than what it was, you know, when you were like around the homies a lot? Do you feel the difference, you know, in life? And when you come back, what's like that feeling to you now?
Well, I'm not in Vegas.
Okay.
Okay. I'm like in between Vegas, but right now I'm in Cali. I'm right here. I'm in LA. I'm here. You know what I mean? I never left. If I vacation somewhere, if I go chill at my ranch for a month, or if I go to Vegas for a month, you know, I'm in between. You know, I can't say that I'm ever out of LA. You know, my grandma is still here, so I'm in LA once a week, twice a month, or whenever. You know what I mean? I'm never too far from LA. I'm never too far from Vegas. You know what I mean? So I'm running that little lap right there from LA to Vegas. You know, like I said, I just tapped into Florida for a little while as well. But I never left. You know what I mean? I bought land in between, and then that way I can still dance at both. So I really can't say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now, it's a difference though. Like, so when I'm on my land, it's a different mindset. When I'm in Vegas, it's a different mindset. When I'm in the city, you know, like now I'm in the city for the last few days since I came back. I came straight to the city.
Gotcha.
And it's a different vibe. It's a different feeling. You know what I mean? Being around the homies. You know, my feeling is the depression that it gives me when I see my homies still doing the same thing. You know what I mean? That's what gets me. You know, when I see the homies is not really elevating or doing something different. You know what I mean? That's really what gets me down. You know, when I see homies that's doing good, like we was down at the shopping center today, and we seen the homegirl working, we see the other homegirl working, and I'm in the parking lot, I see the other homie, he's security guard, and you know, they thrive and they working, and I smile when I see that. You know what I mean? Then I get sad when I see our shops shut down, or I see certain homies that I grew up with, you know, walking up and down Slauson, talking to the stars or whatever. So it's like a roller coaster with me when I'm in LA, you know. But out of LA, it's a more peaceful, more relaxed, for sure.
Wow, that's what's up.
It's definitely a different energy, you know, especially from down south to LA to Vegas. It's different energies in different states. That's for sure.
Wow,
that's definitely for sure.
You know, one thing I noticed, bro, you know, every time I see you, I feel like it's growing more and more. But I noticed that you are getting more connected to your faith and everything like that. You know, last time I seen you, you know, I noticed, you know, you was talking more about the faith more. And then this time, right before we started the live, you were saying a prayer, you know, so I'm like, okay, I'm noticing, you know, the bro is growing more and more in the faith. So you talk about that a little bit, bro, like how your faith is growing even more?
Yeah, well, it's always been that way. So even when you first linked up with me, you know, the reason I kept coming back here was because your mention of God or whatever. So that's what kept me coming. So it always been my calling, you know, just raised in church schools or whatever. So I look at me like, you know, God, you know, I was a diehard dude for my neighborhood, a diehard dude for whatever I was doing. I went to the fullest, basketball or whatever. So God don't want no busters and no weenies represent what he doing, because you're gonna go through it.
Facts.
You know what I mean? I had to go to all these prisons. I had to suffer. I had to go through so much, because once you start walking and talking about God, it take a bold nigga to do that. You gotta be a bold. You don't care what the world think about you no more. I don't care what the world got to say, because the world ain't supposed to like me. Because I'm at odds with the world, you know. So if you with the world, that's cool. Do your worldly stuff. I'm here to spread the word that God he on his way back, number one. You know, right? So he's telling me, let you know that y'all need to get y'all shit together, because he on his way back. Facts. Number one. So you know what I mean? You need to get your life together and make amends with God, instead of making amends with people on earth, trying to appease these people. So if you're trying to appease the people on earth, then he's like, cool, I'll let these people love you, but what about God? You know what I mean? So, you know, my faith never went nowhere. You know, everything I went through, and, you know, the more that I survived, the more I was messing up, the more I was in prison going through riots, the more on the blocks, and the gunshots is flying, and I'm watching homies dying all around me, and just, you know, so much. I start to realize I got a purpose. Like, why is God leaving me around? You know, why am I still here? You know what I mean? So I start realizing I had a purpose, and then the whole trip we listened to church the whole way. You know, and I pray, I ask God, what do you want me to do? You know, what's my purpose? You know, what do you want? You know, you start thinking, do you want me to preach? Do you want me to do this? You don't really know. You know, so. I popped on the radio, and Billy Graham popped up, said, you know, you evangelize, you know, just, you know, tell people, you know, what God has done for you. So me, I don't have all the credentials and all that stuff to teach about God, but I can teach you about God through my experiences, all the stuff that He's done for me. I can, you know, some preachers can't tell you, they know the book, but I can tell you from experience, the stuff that I pray for and stuff like that, I watch it come to pass. You know what I mean? So that, then, like I said, God, He wants strong individuals. He took, you know, he took Saul and turned him to Paul or whatever. They wrote most of the, you know, Paul was a murderer of Christians. You know, and he did so much bad to the Christians. And he was a bold dude that knew everything or whatever. But then God transformed him to take that walk. So he you know, he'll take some of the worst, you know, and make them be a leader. Because you got to be a leader. You got to be a strong person to walk with God. You know, everybody's walking down that road. So you're like, okay, everybody walking down there, you know, hey, it's cool. Everybody having fun. But I'm going to go this way.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean? That's a bold move to say, you know what, I'm gonna walk with God, and I don't care what nobody got to say.
Yeah,
you know, so
facts.
you got to take that step. You got to take that public stance that, like, you know what, I'm gonna walk with God. I don't care what nobody got to say. You know what I mean?
Facts, bro. You know, to me, I look at that as like an evangelist. You know, you have the pastors who are more like teacher, you know, pastors, and then you have the pastors who are, you know, they've been through a lot, so they have stories. You know, you know, I love telling stories myself. So every time I talk, I gotta tell a story with what I'm talking about. You the same way, bro. You know what I'm saying? So you know, those you know, individuals who are, you know, filled with the Holy Spirit are needed when it comes to the faith because of, you know, your life experiences. And it's a lot of experience like that you talk about, bro, that no one have experience or knowledge of. And you know, I'd never forget when I was really getting involved in my faith, I had to listen to pastors who I could relate to. You know, now I can listen to anyone who have knowledge because I'm trying to learn and grow, right? But at a certain point in time in my life, I needed to listen to preachers who they experience some of the things that I experienced. So there's a place for everything that you've been through, bro. There's a place for you, man. And I can already see hundreds and hundreds of people. I remember when Jesus was first crucified and came back, and then, you know, the disciples were filled with the Holy Spirit. Peter went out there and saved over 3,000 people, you know, after he kind of denied Jesus 3 times, and then, you know, he got filled with the Holy Spirit. He was eager now to go out there and you know, save others. And he didn't have a lot of knowledge like that. He learned from Jesus, but he also had the ability to know how to draw people in with his storytelling ability too. Bro, I could see that with you too, bro. I could see that, you know. So you know, I see a future evangelist in you, bro.
Yeah, well, I already been doing the work, so that's not a question, you know. With or without a title, you know, I've been doing the work regardless. You know, God just made it more clear. You know, He just make it more clear that it really, you know, it's that time. You know, we in those end times. You look at the wars, you look at everything that's going on. It's time to wake your people up. That's why we here. You know. I went to church last week, and it felt good just to be around other Christians. Hey, you know, you be on the street so much, you know what I mean? And it's hard to decipher. If you walk through LA right now, you can't just look around and see who's a Christian and who ain't. You know what I mean? You can't. You know, it's supposed to be a walk where, you know, okay, that dude's a Christian. They supposed to see that light in you. You're supposed to have that smile. You're supposed to have something to know, you know. So, when I went to church and I finally, so I said, okay, this is where all y'all been. You know what I mean? All y'all been up here huddled up. But since you've been a Christian, who have you told about Christ, and you know, who have you brought toward Christ? You know, what's next though? Okay, you've been a Christian for 10 years, but within the 10 years, who have you ever talked about Christ to anybody, or is that just a secret thing you do on Sundays, then go back to work on Monday?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's something, you know, that we got to start doing the work. You know what I mean? You got to start bringing people closer. Like, you know, you see people that need help or whatever, you may have to pull over and help them, or do the Christian type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Christianity is not something that you just go to church on Sunday and hide it on Sunday. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you partying with the girls and you doing everything you got to do. Then back to church on Sunday, and then blend in with the world all the rest of the week. You know what I mean? Nah, if you're a Christian, you're supposed to stick out like a sore thumb because you're doing the right thing.
Facts.
You know what I mean? You're supposed to stick out around here like, you know, people supposed to be coming by you like, man, why are you so happy? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, dang, what, you know, why are you so happy? How you gonna be a Christian and you moping and you sad and you cussing like a sailor? You know what I mean? So like I said, I gotta lead by example, and God's only gonna take a bold person to do that. You know what I mean? That's gonna really take that walk. You know, walk through this line of gangbangers and make them pray. You know what I mean? Be able to walk those lines, go to prisons and talk to people. So, you know, I can talk to people from drugs to prisons to gangs or whatever. So I'm ready for it. Wherever God lead me, I'm there. I'm there.
Yeah, you know, bro, one thing that I noticed when, you know, cause you're gonna get exactly what you attract, and people are gonna approach you with what they see or what they think of you, right? One thing that I noticed, and it's a very beautiful thing, is that when people approach, they almost want to either let you know about what they're doing in their life in a positive direction, or they let you know their story of pain and suffering, and to being in a position where they're trying to get through it. It's not like, you know, I know there's some, you know, probably people out there who are on social media that people probably walk up to and they start talking to them like they on the streets. Oh, what up? You know, I'm a blood, or I'm a Crip too, or I'm this or that. I'm gang banging. They talk to them probably like that, but I've always seen people come in a different manner, almost as if they want to change, or they want information on how to change, or they want to show you that they're changing, right? It's always stuff like that. I'm sure you get those type of individuals that approach you a lot. Is that what do you receive from the people who approach you, that see you? How do they see Cowboy when they see you on the streets?
Oh, it's all respect, you know what I mean? It's all love. You want to tell them how to be safe, baby? Tell them something? Yeah, let her tell you. But it's all love. You tell them, you know.
So, honestly,
what's going on, girl? Yeah, it's all love. Like I said, she be with me most of the time, all the time, you know, 24/7. But you know, it's a whole lot of respect.
You in it. Yeah.
Honestly, just truthfully, we've been to 10 states together. We've been all over. Come this way.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
We've been all over, and the one thing I tell him this all the time. I'm like, you know, I think it's so cool that you get so much love for being you. People don't know you from playing a character on TV show or a movie, or not necessarily because they know you from rapping, or they know you from being you. And I think that's so cool because it'll be all walks of people. There was this guy that was in Alabama real quick, and it was somebody that you wouldn't necessarily think even taps in with our culture.
Yeah.
He was probably like 70. He walked up to him and he said, "Cowboy, I love the fact that you talk about God on your podcast. We're like in Alabama in the middle of nowhere." You know what I mean? And it'll be all different races.
Yeah, that one white guy, he was like, yeah, this is an OG right here. He be down there in the ghetto. He be down there in the slums. I was like, damn, boy, you make the hood sound bad, man. He said, man, he be down there. He be down there helping out, man. He be down in the ghetto. I said, yeah, sir.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm just very proud of him because what he doesn't talk about all the great stuff that he does, and I'm next to him every single day, and I am just so proud of the man that he is.
Yeah.
He I can't even articulate it. Like I'm just proud of him, you know, like
Yeah.
I see him get a lot of genuine love, and like it's just a beautiful thing to see. So I'm proud of him.
That's what's up.
Thought I was gonna put it on AuntieButter.com, AuntieButter.com. Let her get the free plug. AuntieButter.com,
Yes, got to get that Auntie Butter, man. That's
it's nothing but love,
that's
though.
stuff right there.
Yeah, it's nothing but love. You know, the people I run into, you know, when they ask me for advice and stuff like that, you know, it's a good feeling. You know what I mean? When people run up to me, I ain't gotta look over my shoulder, you know, because I know I'm not on no crazy topics and no crazy stuff. So yeah, it's nothing but love, you know, from all sets, all hoods, all sets. You know, we even passed from state to state. You know, it's nothing but love, bro. Nothing but love.
Man, that's a blessing. That's a blessing, bro. You know, even though you be staying out the way and out of all the mess and also too just staying off of social media, do you ever like see what's going on, or you kind of like be in a place where I don't even know what's going on anymore?
Well, you know what? I don't really know what's going on. I'm like a scroller. I just scroll and read the headlines. You know what I mean? I'm like a scroller. I refuse to give certain context a click. You know what I mean? So I'm a scroller. I'll scroll past your content. If you get a click out of me, you good. That mean, you know what I mean? You either fooled me or you had some content. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm in tune to what's going on just by reading the headlines, just reading the title. So if any of you guys' titles are real, that's what I know. Other than that, if y'all all got bogus titles, then yeah, I'm not in the loop at all. You know, I just see the same old circus dummies just doing the same, you know, every day looking at new clips of just more circus clown stuff, you know. But, you know, that's their lane, you know. My lane is over here. I don't have a problem with it, you know. I'm gonna stay on the positive, you know. All that circus clown stuff, that internet, all that's coming to a whole. This is entertainment, you know. Y'all done took it too far, you know what I mean. So we want to have entertaining content where you can learn something. You know what I mean. That simple as that. I'm not gonna be on the internet unless I'm teaching you something.
Yeah. Amen to that. Amen to that. Wow. You know, bro, one thing that I always like to do, and I feel like we always have done it well, it's something that I've continued to do. And I know when you come, the people love to hear your perspective, because your perspective is about positivity, experience, and also a direction dealing with the faith as well, right? So, you know, I want to go through a couple of, you know, everyday topics to give that type of perspective, because we have so many perspectives out there that are negative, you know, people talking about people and stuff like that, and that ain't what we do here. People know what we do over here. We like to give a different perspective, you know, in a way that it should be done. So to start it off, one of the topics that I want to get into is something that kind of hits close to home, even more to home with you, but an update on the Big U trial. We just see that he's going to represent himself in the trial that's going to be coming up, I think, sometime next year. The one thing that I want to ask you, with having experience of going through courts, you know, going through cases and things like that, what are your thoughts on that? And is this a direction that you think is wise? And how do you just see this entire situation with just having the experience of dealing with the legal system the way you have in your past?
Well, I think he equipped for it, you know, with technology and everything you got going on nowadays, you know, him going pro per, so you could go pro per with counsel. So that don't mean you just, you know, butt naked on your own. So you could represent yourself with counsel. Yeah. You know, so you can have counsel, you can have people researching stuff for you. So, you know, he's a thinker, you know what I mean? You know, he prays. He's a Muslim. You know what I mean. So he has some beliefs. You know what I mean. Yeah. So it's basically between him and God, wherever God decides to lead him. You know, he's a strong man. You know what I mean. He's gonna snap out of there. He's gonna who else can speak for you better than yourself? You know what I mean? Who else gonna research? Who else gonna fight for your life harder than you fighting for
Facts,
your life?
man. Facts.
You know, I can fight my own case. Just give me a tablet. You know what I mean? And get my AI lawyer or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you know we can fight it. It's all money in the word game. You know, it's all word. All laws is ways. You know, it's all worded. You know what I mean? It's all way things is worded. You know, it's always some loophole in the law. It's always something. You know what I mean? So you know, it may be a wise decision. You know, with like I said, with today's technology and everything that's going on, then that way he got action at all his paperwork, everything that's going on, it has to run past him. You know what I mean? So that way he can control it. You know, sometimes, you know, you got a lawyer and you sitting there telling him, man, I don't want this damn deal. And he coming back, man, take the deal. So your lawyer frustrates you more than the whole damn case, you know, trying to convince your lawyer, you know, to fight for you. You know what I mean? So it probably would be a wise decision, you know. You know, it's a lot of deep stuff going on, so let him sort through the paperwork. You know what I mean? Let him sort through the paperwork, but he's been there, done that before, so I would imagine that he's gonna fight it, you know, till the wheels fall off.
Yeah. You know, one thing that I always say, big bro, is that, you know, I look at a lot of these videos and things out here, and that's why I'm big on giving a faith, you know, gospel twist to a lot of the topics, because you see people spread and put out so much negativity. And one thing that I always like to say is that, you know, a lot of you say that you're Christian or, you know, of the Bible and things like that, right? But do you not understand that a lot of the disciples were killers, thieves, criminals, all type of things before they turned their lives over, you know, to God and everything? So, you know, you look at an individual in a situation and y'all immediately judge, not knowing if this person heart have changed, if this person have changed, and also too, you look at a person and you wish negativity on individuals. So one thing that I always like to do is just also look at that situation and show it nothing but love, and also pray for Big U. I pray for Big U every time I think of him. I pray for him, because I can't look at a situation like that and say anything negative about it, because nobody should wish that on nobody in a situation like that. You get what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah. These dudes, they preyed on his downfall. You know, you don't wish that on your worst enemy. You know, days prior to the stuff happening, they was online, so they knew ahead of time. They didn't even try to warn him, but that's here nor there, you know. But you know, in the Bible it says it'll be brother against brother. There'll be so much hate, so much envy. So that's what they're tearing each other down. You know, the internet has torn down. Man, you just look over this last couple years or whatever. The internet done boomed and tore down the whole West Coast and tore it down. You know, and tore it down, and they doing it themselves. You know, over little clicks and little fame and stuff like that. You know, they basically. Anything goes, you know, they'll talk about anybody, you know.
Facts.
And that's judging people, you know, you judging people, you being this, you being a hypocrite. You just, you know, a lot of these people that are being arrested and what, you know, is all behind internet, you know, people that dislike you digging up dirt and going through interviews, and it's all about the internet, you know. They're making their job real easy. You over there talking nonsense on the internet, and you wondering why you're getting arrested.
Facts.
You know,
man, nothing but a fact, bro. Nothing but a fact.
And it was bad for Big U, because he was chilling doing what he had to do, and these other goofies got him, you know, twisted up. But hey, I'm done with it. But more prayers out to Big U though. He always been solid to me. So until the full outcome, you know, that's still my partner regardless. You know what I mean? He that's still Unc to me. Ain't nothing changed when it come to Unc. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Oh, definitely. Prayers out to Big U and his family. Yeah, straight up. You know, so we have another topic out there, you know, and when it comes down to this one, I actually looked at this situation as a moment where this individual missed out on giving a message to the young men and teaching something. But we have this Shannon Sharpe situation, right? And the other day, it came out that he settled his case, right? And ESPN, right after that, fired him. He, after that, did a video where he was apologizing to his brother for this coming out. But one of the things that I feel he missed out on was looking in that camera and letting especially the young men out there know that, you know what, I'm not perfect and I made a mistake. You know, I think that a lot of pride and ego happens when us men go through certain situations. And if you are able to show humility, that's where growth start to be shown, you know, in you as a man. When you see a situation like that, what are your thoughts on that? And how do you think a situation like that should get handled? You know, if you was in a situation like that.
Man, what the hell freaky Shannon Sharpe got into? I mean, throw me in the loop. What that nigga done got into? Talk to me.
well, he got the sexual assault, right?
Okay,
you know, case, right?
I may have seen some
and they settled the case. You know,
okay, yeah.
They're saying it could have been around $23 million that they settled for. That's the word, right?
Yeah.
Right after that came out, Shannon probably thought that was gonna get him that ESPN job back. But right after that, he got fired from ESPN and then put out the statement apologizing to his brother because his brother just got inducted in a Hall of Fame. And that came out right at the same time. But he didn't say nothing to the young men out there who I think the real message should be towards them, because you have a big platform and you should utilize your platform to give back to the young men who are looking at you, who may be inspired by you and are influenced by you, right? Yeah. So I looked at that as like a moment missed. So I wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Oh, shit. Freaky Shannon, give me a call, man. We had to talk about it, man. But yeah, I really ain't got too much comment on that. But, you know, when you are a political figure, I mean, not political figure, but when you're a big wig or a big guy like that, and you got a nice platform like that, you know, you got an image that you got to uphold. So you want to be on a positive note at all times. A lot of people look up to you, you know what I mean? So, you know, so it don't hurt to humble yourself. If you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, circumstances or whatever it may be, you know what I mean? But, you know, it never hurts to humble yourself and truly be sincere if you sincerely sorry for whatever your actions are. Like I said, I don't know. I'm speaking in the blind. So, you know, when you a role model, you know what I mean? When you're a person that people look up to, you want to try to keep that, you know, you don't want to tarnish that, you know what I mean? And what I've been noticing over the last few years, the internet has been tarnishing all our black celebrities. Yes. Anybody that's speaking or making a wave, they're tarnishing everybody. So in a minute, it's not going to be none of us left. So therefore, you need to us as individuals need to come with positive stuff, because we see what the negative stuff is bringing.
Yeah,
so we see that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So if you're not on some positive stuff and you're on the internet, or if you're positive and you're on the internet, just know that they're digging up stuff, they're looking. So you know you got to really be with this walk. Yeah, you know what I mean. Don't be walking this walk acting like you're positive and you're not, because the truth will come out. You know what I mean? Because all eyes is the world of the internet. All eyes is on you. So you know when you walk in that walk it. Don't give them no dirt. Don't give nobody the opportunity to put you in that position. You know what I mean? Where you got to pay $23 million or whatever type of whatever you got to pay. Facts. Don't let nobody. We bigger than, wasn't he talking to some girls on Tinder type shit or something, whatever it may be? But you know, come on, you know, but. Like I want to tell my girl, a lot of these celebrities, a lot of these ball players, a lot of these rich dudes, they insecure. You got the money, you got the riches, you got the cars, but you ain't got enough nuts to look at the girl and just say, hey, how you doing? Yeah. You ain't got enough heart to do that, but you got to go get all the diamonds, the Rolls Royce, the whatever, you know, in the mirror. Do I look cute? You know, you can't just roll out, you know what I mean? I have my little cut off, my little jean shorts cut up, and my grandma was like, baby, you want me to buy you some jeans? I'm like, nah, grandma, I cut them like that. That's just how I wear, you know. You know, I rock anything. You don't have to be insecure or whatever. So, you know, you got to lead by example. So, you know, as a black dude in our community, you know, we making ourselves look bad. You know what I mean? Everybody that's made it to a certain plateau, they get knocked down.
Yeah.
I mean, just man, every last one of them. Just look at all the ones that got knocked down. Just start there, and you'll be in triple digits or whatever. You'll be counting all day.
Yeah.
You know, all our celebrities that made it to a certain status, and they just get knocked back down. Like, sit back down, little boy. You know. So.
Yeah, nah, facts, brother, facts. You know,
don't set yourself up for that failure, though.
Yeah. Nah, I agree with everything that you're saying. You know, even when you talked about, a lot of the celebrities going through what they going through, and seeing them change. You know, I was looking at, the other day right before the verdict came out for Diddy, he was over there, on his knees with a Bible in his hand, reading some verses. And what immediately went to my head was that, that's cool, but are y'all really gonna be about walking that walk though? Yeah. Are you really gonna, because eventually he's gonna get out because he beat the bigger charges, the racketeering and the RICO and all of that, so it may be some time because it looked like they trying to keep him up in there. So it may be some time, but eventually he will get out. I'm all about, okay, you at the trial with a Bible in your hand on your knees. Are you really ready to take that walk? Or is this all just for show? So that's what I be calling out, things like that when you see these celebrities, be a Sunday believer, Oh, I'm believing today because I need God today. But the other 6 days out the week, you look like they don't even know who God is. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I mean, you see that a lot, too, when it comes down to a lot of these individuals. Like, I really believe they're afraid of facing persecution. And also, they don't want to stop doing a lot of the sins that they are doing on an everyday basis and committing. So I see a lot of that, but no real change. What are your thoughts on that when you see situations like that?
But like I said, with Diddy, you never know. God may have touched him, and going to jail touched him. When you make it and you lose, you on the verge of losing everything. So he may have got closer to God, and there's nothing to fake. So if you faking it, that's the worst thing you could do. Be faking it. So it may have got him more in touch with God. Going to jail, but they still doing him wrong because once he beat all the major charges, they still should have gave him a bail. Because I've seen a lot of time. You can beat a lot of stuff and they give you enough time to get your affairs in order. So at this point in time, all the charges he had, just the charges that he got found guilty on or whatever, that's not gonna make him a flight risk because he not gonna, if he not facing life, why run? You know what I mean? If I only got 5-10 years or whatever coming, what the hell I'm gonna run for? You know what I mean? As long as I ain't got the elbow, nigga, so he ain't no flight risk. He ain't gonna flight because of a 5 or 7 or 10 years. He not gonna flight for that. So that ain't fair how they treat him. Where I seen them let white boys come in here and then they get them niggas 30, 60 days to handle their affairs and come back and turn yourself in. So stop it. That's not fair for him right there because he beat the majority or whatever. They should give him some time to get his affairs in order, then go turn himself in and do his sentence.
No, definitely. I mean, what's fair is fair. A lot of people like to ask all the time, you would want to see a person like that out of jail. I'm like, hold up, this don't have nothing to do with me liking Diddy or not. This have nothing to do with that. He went through the legal system. He had a case and he had a trial. He beat the bigger charges and the smaller charges that carry no more than like 5 years. Those are the ones that he was guilty of. So it don't matter how I feel, but what's right is right. And at the end of the day, if you look at other cases like his situation, they got probation or, they was out. He would have they would have got time served for how long he been up in there, right?
Exactly.
So I'm like, it don't have nothing to do with how any of us feel. This is the system, and the system put in place these rules and regulations for that charge. Get what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah, they give him. They doing him bad. Yeah, they doing him bad. But like I said, that's between him and God.
Exactly.
He know what was going on in them baby oil rub downs.
Yeah.
Sticky.
That's all between him and I right there. That's for another day.
Another day right there. Hey, yeah, well, you know, I wish the best for him. You know, it sounded like he was just having a whole lot of fun. It don't sound like they trumped up a lot of stuff. It sounded like he was just having a whole lot of fun. You know what I mean? So nothing that Hollywood ain't been doing for years. So
Facts.
you know, don't. Yeah, it is what it is.
Facts, bro. Facts. You know, going into the next topic, bro. This one, you know, got to me, and also it was something that I was like, man, I want to know Cowboy thoughts about this one. But so the other day, Jacksonville, you know, rapper Queso, he's a part of that ATK crew, who they're a rap group, you know, and everything. They had beef with like Julio Fulio and all of them, but he eventually faced a murder case, and he just got found guilty. But the thing that really, you know, touched me, and you know, I wanted to get your thoughts on was that during this trial, his dad took the stand, you know, against him, and basically told on him, and was a big part of him, you know, getting convicted, you know, and everything. So, and the thing when it come down to his dad was the individual who during this situation picked him up from where they were at after the murder. And his dad told the entire situation. And his dad was in the streets heavy too, but he basically said what he said to save his life. He basically gonna get out because of what he did, right? So I wanted to get your thoughts on this situation with, Queso, you know, because, you know, it hurts my heart to see this done to young brothers, because young brothers need mentors. They need, and I'm not saying what he did. If he did what he did, who knows? I'm not saying it's right, but it's sad to see young brothers not have mentors, not have leaders around them. You know, have individuals like his pops who showed him the streets. You know, he learned from his pops, and no matter what happened, his pops then turn around and you know, testify against him, that, you know, get him locked up, you know, probably for the rest of his life. Who knows? But what are your thoughts on that situation when it come down to, because these are individuals who come from the same world that you come from, gang members, everything, right, bro? So what is your situation when it come down to a situation like this?
You know, it's just sad. You know, it's just sad that, you know, that he out there hitting licks with your dad. You know what I mean? You know, I'm out there with my dad, just, you know, just on whatever we may be. You know, that my dad is my crimey. That is something right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How's me and my dad even crimey? So, you know, whatever relationship they had, you know, that's, ain't no honor amongst criminals and thieves or whatever. So, you know, when it come down to doing crime and when it come time to do that time, it's two different things. You know, a lot of people want to do the crime, but a lot of people don't want to do that time.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a cutthroat thing. So he saved his ass versus his son. You know, you never know the situation. You know, maybe until the son, I don't want to do this, boy. You know, you just never know. You never know the situation. So, yeah, you got to send prayers out to him. Then you got to think about the person that was murdered or whatever. How does that person feel? Or,
Facts.
You know, is there any truth to it? But if the dad is corroborating everything, and then, you know, it's a tough situation, especially when you're, if y'all murdering people, that's definitely a flag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's a tough pill to follow. But I couldn't see me and my dad riding around looking for nobody unless they did something to one of my kids or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you'd have to have a real good motive for me and my dad to be outside looking for somebody or whatever. Well, you know, I don't know the situation, but
well, you know, it's crazy that you say that, because he was actually avenging his brother who was murdered. And this individual did a diss song after his brother's murder. So that's basically what he was doing. Exactly what you just said.
That's basically what his dad told the story what it was. But like I said, that comes down to pride. You know, let it go. My daughter just beat the brakes off some females. They try to pack her. She put hands on them.
Wow.
And then I'm like, you know, it's on the internet or whatever it may be. But I'm like, you know,
Wait, what, your actual daughter, bro?
Well, yeah, my daughter, like I said, put tips on some motherfuckers. But either way it go, it's like my thing is, as a dad, is this a pump up case? Why is it on the internet? Why is what's the factors behind this type of stuff? You know what I mean? So, so I had to have that conversation. You know what I mean? Because that's my daughter. And you hear something, I might want to react. And kids, it's about pride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like, well, did you have to take the fade? Did the girls, so basically somebody whip out a camera and somebody say something, now you got to, you know what I mean? So I had to let her know, you more of a bigger man, say, you know what, I'm cool. I'm gonna go about my way.
Yeah.
And, I'm cool. And let that person, if that person gets in a threatening manner, then you gotta take care of your business, the majority of those fights I won. A lot of times when I was the guy talking all the shit, and I normally got my ass, tapped. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I done talked myself into many ass whooping. So, I learned to just be, let the fight come to you. You know what I mean? Don't be a pressure case. You know what I mean? Don't let the internet pump you up or whatever. So. A lot of that stuff, somebody send a diss song, okay, man, make a better diss song or whatever it may be. Everything doesn't have to resort to, just kill.
Yeah. But when it come down to these young dudes out here, though, do you ever look at these situations and of course you have to be accountable and responsible for yourself, right? But a lot of times, bro, I don't only blame a lot of these young dudes, 18, 17, 18, 19, 20. I look at the situations that they grew up in, the environments that they grew up in, and did they have, mentorship? Did they have young men guiding and leading them in the right direction? So it's hard for me to totally blame a lot of these young dudes out here, knowing that that's what they were taught. They were taught. They were taught to go out there and murder and steal. And go out there and put on for the homies or whatever. This is what they was taught, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot. Do you look at a lot of these type of situations, and even yourself, like in your past, and would you say that the older generation was teaching the younger generation the right things? Like if you could kind of just give an example of like the things that was going on when you was really deep in there, and your thoughts on the things you were teaching and showing. Do you feel like the things that you were saying could have been different, or do you feel like you always gave the right type of game when it came down to the younger generation?
I think our grandparents gave us good information, and then once we got out to the streets gave us the misinformation. Our families gave us the right information. We didn't get no bullshit till we started hanging out around the corner. On the block. With our family, we was good. Once we started branching off of the block and going to hang in different areas, that's when we started picking up all the nonsense. You know what I mean? So, you want to me going through prison and doing and going through a lot of stuff made me not want other people to do it. You know, so when I came home from prison, I wanted to teach homies not to go to prison. I could be sitting there. If I care about you, I'm gonna teach you how not to go there. If I don't care about you, I'd say, here, take some drugs, take some guns, take this, go have fun. You know what I mean? But I cared about the people in my community, so I try to teach them to do something different. That's why I bought studio equipment. That's why I always try to have different outlets. I felt, now they got the internet. We didn't have that internet outlet, so now they have it. It's a good thing if you're learning. Like, I've been learning a lot of stuff. I'm learning a lot on the internet. But if you're using it for the negativity, then you're not learning nothing, and then you just stir it up. Like I said, I played Grand Theft Auto, and when I was done playing after 2 or 3 days, I played that shit straight.
Yeah.
I was driving around, and I felt like I was in the game. So these kids, this is their world. All they know is the fighting and the drama. So if they never seen no movies with love.
Man, that's a fact.
They never seen a love movie. All they see is fighting and killing and killing. Like my son, I think he was 7 or 8 at the time. He said, Oh yeah, I just killed it like it was nothing. Like just he was playing a video game, but it was just like nothing, just to smoke this thing. Like you know what I mean? Like brains blow it all out, and it was like kill was nothing. So they programmed to where it's nothing. Got movies like The Purge, what they on Purge 3 or some shit.
Man,
so,
yeah, they like 3, 4,
yeah,
something.
They showed me some shit like that when I was younger to scare the shit out of me. I ain't going back to the movies. I'm good. So yeah, these kids they got it rough, and everything is leading them to the wrong. Just scroll down the internet and look how many negative titles that you see all day. I don't see nothing positive.
Nothing at all.
Yeah, you don't see no good news. You know what I mean? Everything is Whoopty Whoop is doing that and Whoopty Whoop is doing that. Guess what Whoopty Whoop said? Guess what Whoopty Whoop? Just a bunch of drama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bunch of drama.
You right, bro. That's why I say we just in the time and a place where I put it on our shoulders as older, wiser men. To reach out to these younger, men in groups, whether they want to listen or not, just put a positive message out there, even if it's from behind the camera. I just think that is our responsibility to do whatever we can to, put a positive message out there and help out the next generation. In the Bible, it talk about if you are out here and not helping others, your life should perish. You're nothing if you're not helping others and doing something for other people. So I think as men, especially when it comes to our community as black men, we got to put it on us. We can't put it on the government. We can't put it on the president. We can't put it on other cultures and races. As black men, when we see these young black dudes, that's on us. That's on us. You know what I'm saying? So we got to start taking more responsibility. That's just the way I look at that type of, situation.
Yeah, you can't give up on them. The older generation, they give up on them. And then when them little niggas get a little bigger, then they get scared of them. You can't. You gotta at least go let them know, like, look, you messing up, bro. Get it together. You know what I mean? You gotta at least be man enough to do that. I seen a little kid acting up in church, and I was almost out my seat to snatch him up, cause he told his grandma was telling him to come sit, and he was like, no, telling his grandma no. And I'm talking about I was 5 seconds from snatching that ass up. And they did a little prayer thing, and he went up there and got prayed for, and he came back and sat right next to his grandma. I said, okay. I said, God is good, because I was going to go snatch him. Because I know if I'd have been in church and I would have been, though my grandma knows, somebody would have snatched me up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, you can't just let them slide. If grandma can't handle it, look here, little man, I'm going to snatch you up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Nah, that's what's up, bro. That's what's up. Hey, I remember those days at church. We did see, I still, I still come from that cloth of the generation that you come from. It changed right after me. Generations, my nephews in there, that's their generation, but you see they have usually, I'm sure like your kids and this, the ones that got a good head on their shoulders is because they got someone constantly in their ear, teaching them, talking to them, telling them what's up. Because if you're not in these young ones' ear nowadays, that's what you're going to see. In church, they screaming, they yelling. You like, what's going on with they kids? They don't discipline them or nothing. So that wasn't our generation. Our grandfather would have gave us a stare right after. We would have been having to go and take off our shirt and get the extension cord, and he wasn't playing with us. Right after, brother. Right after. Yeah. So, moving around to another topic. So, as we all seen the other day, Hulk Hogan passed away. Who, in the wrestling industry, he was a legend, right? In the wrestling industry. But he was bashed very, very, very heavy by so many people because, years back he did make some racist remarks and say some things that were not cool. He said the N-word with the big ER at the end of it, multiple times. But he did before, and this was at least 2-3 years before he passed. He turned his life over to Christ, and he asked for people's forgiveness for everything that he did, and was saying, that wasn't him, and he now have transformed his life over to God, and he hope people forgive him. People still weren't really feeling that and forgiving him, but what are your thoughts on forgiveness after you turn your life over to Christ? And also being a Christian, do you think that people should forgive no matter what someone has did or said, as a Christian man?
Yeah, well, you gotta forgive him. No, it ain't on you to judge him. If he made some statements and he changed his ways. You gotta forgive him. Because ultimately, if you don't forgive him, it don't really matter. If you don't forgive him, then it may be time when you asking for forgiveness and you not gonna get it. So, so you gotta stay forgiving, because if you ask God, hey God, could you have mercy on me? And he tell you, well, damn, whoever you have mercy on. And if you can't show him nobody, then you through. So if you give mercy, because one day you never know, you may need some mercy.
Yeah, facts, man. That's a big time fact, brother. Big time fact. In Ephesians 4, it talk about forgive one another, just as God in Christ has forgiven, them, right? Yeah. So that's scripture right there. We have to forgive one another.
Yeah.
So you have so many people out there who look at it differently. And I say, well, you have not transformed yet, and it's okay. Everybody have not got to that place, but you got to understand that, hey, if I was in a position where I wanted to be forgiven, I would hope that people would forgive me. Just like when in Matthew, when they talk about everybody wanted to kill the woman who committed adultery, right, and everything like that, and they wanted to stone her, and Jesus said, ye who has not sinned, cast the first stone. And nobody threw a stone. It's like, hold up, y'all all wanted to kill this woman, but when your sins come into place, you put your head down and you walk away like, well, yeah, I just sinned an hour ago. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Still shaking like, what's going on? He looked up and said, where everybody at? They all gone. He said, just go on, don't let it happen again. We better not catch you in that barn again with them sheep. Catch you in there again, it's gonna be a problem. Yeah, so
oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, everybody want to be forgiven, man.
Yeah.
I got a deep one for you, bro. Do you believe that you have forgiven Eric Holder for what he did, to Nip?
I wouldn't say I forgave him. Nah, I can't say I forgave him. Even God's still working on me in that department. But I can't say I forgave him. I don't hold no grudge. I don't hate the nigga. He just a dummy that just made a dumb move. I see niggas on the streets making them same dumb moves to this day. You know what I mean? So he just another dumb nigga that did something stupid.
Yeah. Like
I said, I don't lose no sleep. I don't be dreaming about this nigga, no shit. You know what I mean? I ain't lost no sleep. Yeah. His day come. One day I'll get some breaking news, But yeah, I'm not holding no grudge or nothing. I can't even say, even at this day, I ain't even got no anger toward the nigga really. It's just, I done got over it. Nigga done fucked up. You know what I mean? He messed up. I lost another one of my homeboys, and God got some bigger things in store for me. Got Nip up there doing his thing. So, Nip ain't suffering. So, I know what I know. Then, bro straight. When I looked at him in his casket, he had a smile on his face like, job well done. So, when, couldn't nothing happen to Nip unless God wanted to allow it and his purpose was done. Nip had all the LA at the crypto arena. Come on. So, he had a big purpose. So, you can't tell me that he ain't straight. He good. So yeah, but working on me and that dude, forgive him. I mean, shit. I guess you could say I could, because it ain't gonna bring them back. You know what I mean? But at the same token, if I had a chance to get my hands on him, shit, I probably would be going to hell or some shit, because I'll be trying to strangle that nigga. You know what I mean? So that'd be a tough one too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have to wrestle with God like Jacob. You know what I mean? I'd be that guy.
Man.
Because that. Yeah, like I said, we all human though. God don't expect you to be perfect, but he don't expect you to keep on doing the same shit over and over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doing the same stuff. So, if you're doing something, if you sinning or whatever, it's time to straighten up and not do it no more. Try to get better. You know what I mean? You don't dwell in it. Don't keep on practicing. Whatever you're doing that's wrong, don't keep practicing it, So if you're going sin, you better move on to a different one or something. And then, you know, get your life better though. Don't sit there and keep practicing or dwelling in it. You know what I mean? Whatever God wanted out of your life, He'll get it out your life. You know, I thought I would be getting high all my life. You know what I mean? So here it is now. Don't drink. You know what I mean? Don't do drugs. You know, and living a good life. So, you know, I'm here to show them examples. You know, for a person like me that been on drugs, been to prison, been to so many obstacles to live the life that I live now and to be as happy as I am now. That's only God for sure.
Yeah. You know, bro. One thing, no matter what. One thing I can say about you, bro, and I ain't gonna lie, just thinking about it, because I got so much love for you, I got a little emotional thinking about it, bro. You know, from the first day we met, man, when you came in with that red jacket, to the day, bro, I'm gonna tell you this, man. It ain't too many people I know that has transformed so much from when I first seen them to now. And I could say when it come down to you, bro, I see a totally different man. And you was always a good dude, but I'm just saying the at that time, just seeing the pain you were still going through, you know, if anybody could go back and even watch that interview, like you could see the pain, the anger, like if anybody who had anything to do with that was in your face right then and there, they were not going to live. That type of anger to where you're at now, to, you know, you talk about God a lot, and you, every time I see you, you have a big smile from ear to ear. You know, you got Auntie Butter with you, who is always happy with you, and y'all just looking like a happy couple, like y'all high for love and God every day. Like it's just a totally different person, man. And you know, I love seeing it, bro. And I love being a part of seeing that total transformation, you know, with you. And I know you're going to continue to grow even more. I already know. I got a lot more in store for you. But just to see how much you have changed from that day to now, bro, hey, man, I'm proud of you, bro. And man, I'm happy to see, you know, you have so much joy in your life right now.
Yeah, that was, like I said, that was a healing process. You know, after Nip passed, like I said, we're working on 6 years now. After Nip passed, it was just a healing process. You know, that first year, then the second year, you know, it was really a healing process to. And now it's time to get back and, you know, finish my mission. You know, Nip did his mission, so it's time for me to finish out mine. So,
facts, bro, facts.
Yes, sir.
And you know, one thing too, last thing I want to just mention when it come down to Nip, one thing I could say too is that even with Nip not in a physical body being here, I didn't seen a lot of people in the city and in the community change their lives because of the stories that has been told in regards to Nip. You can't, like, I've never seen nothing like that before. You know, you look at people, you know, channels and you even look at the news that, you know, people building, you know, young, you know, black women and men building things and doing stuff. You always hear Nipsey name as someone who they looked up to, you know, and this have everything to do with not even the music, off of his message on change. I always tell people straight up, that picture behind me is not even there because of the music. See, us in LA and people who really connected with Nip, it's bigger than the music. It's bigger. It was his message. Him talking about changing the community. Him talking about growth. Him saying do it independently. You don't need the middleman. Like, man, it was his message. That's why Nip is up there. That's why I have so much love and respect for him. That's why when I was in my car building my business, I would go to his videos and just listen to what he was saying, because I'm like, we the same age, but that dude right there, he got game that I need right now. That's why I have so much love for Nip. And when we met, it just made the connection even stronger, because it all happened organically. It wasn't I need to connect with Cowboy. I was just reaching out to different people. Our connection just happened, you know, to turn out like this, right? But man, you know, from Nip passing to now, it's crazy because his impact is even more, and you could feel it, you know. So, man, that's incredible, bro. That's incredible. Yeah. So yeah, moving along. Hey, actually, August 15th is coming up. So his birthday. Do you still do something, you know, like get a cake or a candle, or do you still do a little something on his birthday?
Always on his birthday, I do something on his birthday. Yeah, I always do something. You know, Even shit, Christmas, I done brought Christmas trees down there and posted them up. So yeah, just whenever I feel like it, you know what I mean, I'll go down there and do something. But yeah, definitely on this birthday, I always do something. I'll probably this year, just go up to the Marathon Burger or something. And
hey.
I go to the one down there on Venice though. I like the one at Venice by the boardwalk, so we go down there and we go to Venice and shoot some basketball, hang out at the Marathon for a little bit. Yeah, that's my spot. I like the one down on Venice. I hadn't tapped on the one on Melrose yet. So yeah, the one right there on Venice is I'm an ocean baby. I like it. I like to go see that water. Like I said, we was in Florida. We loved it. The heat, we don't miss the heat. It was heat, it was sticky hot, you know what I mean? So we hey man, I truly been enjoying myself. I truly been enjoying getting out of the city and just seeing new stuff, meeting new people. Down south, I love the down south, that southern hospitality. That shit's true. It's real. It's real. I mean, you can go into McDonald's or whatever restaurant, everybody was happy. I didn't see no sad people. So, if y'all get a chance, go tap in down south and just get a feel of it. Get out the city for a minute.
Dope. That's
you on Tsunami Watch or some shit. I'm like, oh hell no, I'm going back to this shit. This Tsunami Watch. The fuck?
Yeah. That's comfy. Too, bro. Just talking about his birthday and everything like that. Really, I'm me, I'm all about unity on another level, bro. So every year and every time I see you, I ask you to see, is it, is God creating that space for it to come closer and closer? But do you see one day a birthday or a celebration on the life of Nip? Do you see it getting closer to that reuniting happening with, you and Black Sam and all of Nip closest people and homies, you know what I'm saying? And because to me, I'm gonna be honest, and this is, I'm sure, to everybody out there, if I don't see you around, to me, that's not everybody. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care what anybody else say. Oh, it's fat. No. If I don't see you there, bro, I don't count that as everybody, because and the proof in the pudding with that too is go look at all the videos. Who's the one person, who's one of the two people who you see in all of his videos? You see either you or his brother. Yeah. So if you're not there, bro, I don't count that as everybody. But do you see that, happening? Do you see y'all getting steps closer to that day happening one day?
Oh yeah. We definitely like I said, we running a race. I'm a marathon runner, Number one, I'm waiting on these niggas to catch up. I'm out here getting, so I'm looking back, telling them, come on, y'all, come on, you know what I mean? So, I just tell that Nip all the time. I say, Nip, I had to slow down and start doing this so y'all can catch up. You know what I mean? So, I talked to Black. Me and Black had a conversation. We talked on the phone. So it had been some years, where I gave the family some space. You know what I mean? I needed the space. You know what I mean? I was hurt, so I know the family was hurt. I see Sam start stepping back out and doing the marathon thing, and I start seeing a few different interviews and a few other things. And we finally had a FaceTime conversation. It was all smiles. Between, with me and Sam, we can't hide our emotions, we fucking with each other or we ain't, that type of thing, you know what I mean? So it was all smiles, it was all love, and I told him when I get done running my little lap and I get back from Florida, get to done handling my business, I'll pull up and we, do a face-to-face and just chop it up. Yeah.
Dope.
Everything's everything, so the team know anytime they need me for whatever they need me for, I'm just a phone call away. So I'm down here in LA for a minute taking care of my LA lap. So, I did my Vegas lap, I did, now I'm back down here doing another lap right here, taking care of a lot of family business, really hanging with my grandma, my grandma 93, she wanted some Bluebell ice cream. So we got her some Bluebell ice cream that they had in Texas. They don't sell it out here. So we had to get some Bluebell ice cream shipped to her, some sugar-free, what I mean? So she'll be all right. She we sat there and she ate an ice cream. We bought her some oxtails and she was quiet. She had a ball. She enjoyed it.
Yeah.
93 years old. That's my partner. We talk every day.
Man, every day. That's a blessing, man.
Yeah.
That's
young,
a blessing.
Still look like she, looking young. Look real young.
Wow, 93, brother.
Yeah,
wow.
93.
That's a blessing. Wow. Wow, man. You know, I'm glad that you shared that, brother, because like I remember after we would have interviews sometimes, I would actually pray on it, you know, because I'm like, man, that I know that's what Nipsey would want, you know, because he had love for all of y'all, you know, especially, you know, the ones he was the closest to. So, man, thank you for sharing that, bro. I feel like, man, that's something that the ones close to you and also the city. I know the people who show love, that's something that they will want to hear too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Black
we went through a
Salmon,
healing
Cowboy.
process. Yeah, we went through a healing process. You know, like you had to give everybody a little space. You know, everybody got their space, and now it's time to connect on. You know, I see a lot of Nip dreams still coming to life. You know what I mean? I'm still watching a lot of it come to life, and I know he would love to see the team, you know, all together working. You know, working together. Yeah. At least on something. So we'll figure it out in the future. You never know what God got in store for us.
Yeah. Hey, amen to that. Hey, God could do anything. Yeah. You know, so amen. All right, let's read a little bit of the chat, you know, before we get ready to close out. So Optimistic James said, Miss Auntie Butter. Optimistic James saying, "What's up?"
She stole the show.
Show your butter too, Auntie Butter, so they can see what's going on with that. You know, he need to see the Auntie Butter.
So we have Auntie Butter and Uncle Butter. First product with over 21 uses, all natural, tested for 5 years. So it's a two-way hair conditioner, face and body moisturizers for arthritis, pain, burns, cuts, bug bites. If you want your hair to grow and your skin to glow, just butter up, all natural.
Hey,
Diddy, we got your back, boy.
And your biggest organ.
Yeah.
Something natural. Get the best, Auntie and Uncle.
Hey,
AuntieButter.com.
Nice.
Nice.
Get your Auntie
Butter. The Cash App, you know, for that plug app. That Cash App over there. Yeah.
All right. We got Dawit Burry, top of the top Cowboy. Sound like he probably be he's a member on your channel too, I think too, bro. Dawit Burry. Say something to Dawit, brother?
Sound familiar.
Got anything to say to him, brother?
Top of the top. What up, boy? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. We got died again. Stay positive. The light will always shine through darkness. Hey, that's the fact. Preaching the word.
Yeah, you need light. Wouldn't nothing survive without no light. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You can't nothing survive in darkness. Just straight darkness.
Yes.
Maybe some roaches. I don't know.
Facts. Oh, man. Fresh one. After you turn your life over, Jesus said, "Go and sin no more." Man.
Yes, sir.
Man. Yes, sir. Speak on that, brother.
Yes, sir. That's what it is. So, you know, they always say we all fall short or whatever, and that be their excuse. Nah, it mean, you know, you repent and you try your best not to do it no more. That don't mean just keep on doing it. It's, oh yeah, God will forgive me. You know, that means don't dwell in it. You know, move on. You know, that's the problem. You don't like us practicing the wrong stuff.
Yeah, facts. All right, got all around show 100. As just giving a what's up? I'm guessing that's what that is.
What's up? 100. Yeah, we back at it. Running laps.
Yes.
Like my boy said, when you running the race, it's hard to see the other runners. You know, you out here running your lap. I only can see you when I'm out in traffic. You know, I don't see Paul every day because he working. You know, you can't see Cowboy every day. I'm working. We moving.
Yes.
Running laps.
Facts. You know, definitely running laps, brother. All right, Optimistic James. All right, saying something funny. LOL. He said, if you gonna sin, don't do it again. You need to move on to another one.
Yeah, move on to another one, but not literally though, but yeah.
Oh man, you be clowning, man. Yeah, definitely don't do that, brother. Definitely don't do that. Not at all, man. Yeah.
Well, you got 2 or 3 of them that you working on, so get one out the way and work on the next one, then the next one. That don't mean get rid of one and pick up 2.
Yeah, facts. All right, bro. I got a verse of the day. Verse of the day. I'm gonna go Hebrew 13:5. All right. Hebrew 13:5 is keep your life free from love of money and be content with what you have. For he has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Gotta put your trust and faith in God. He'll give you everything that you need. Don't fall in love with money. Fall in love with God, and he'll take care of everything else from there. You know, what's your thoughts on that verse, bro?
Oh yeah, that's what it's about. Like I said, a lot of people, money is their idol. You know what I mean? That's what they chase. You know, a lot of times me and wifey, we get caught up in business or whatever, and I'd be like, nah, babe, we gotta take care of this stuff. You know what I mean? That stuff is important to us. God is gonna make that happen for us, but this work is more important. You know what I mean? So we trying to, you juggle both. You know, God will give you all your wishes and everything that you want in business and stuff like that, as long as you're taking care of His work. Yeah. Or the work that you want is beneficial, and you let people know that the reason that I'm prosperous is through God. Everything I got, everything I done bought, from whatever, from the Rolls Royces to party buses to whatever I done bought, houses, cars, or whatever. God provided that. Even when He provided me stuff I really didn't need, just to show me that I didn't need it. You know what I mean? To get me to where I'm at now, to where money's nothing now. We make it to survive. We eating healthy now. So, we need money, but money should never be our idol, or money should never put us in a position where we got to do something thirsty for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts, brother. Facts. Man, you broke that down well, brother.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. Before we break out, brother, any plans or anything you got coming up, updates about anything?
Oh, everything. Yeah, I mean, we're really, like I said, we starting on the book, even though the book is theoretically out, but we starting on the book, and everything comes off of the book, from the documentaries to the movies to everything. So we in some big negotiations right now, just trying to figure out some everything on black and white. You know what I mean? So I got 10 years worth of a rollout ready to roll, just full of projects, full of music, the auto, the book with my voice talking, and no AI generated shit. Everything is us. So you know what I mean? I got a lot of projects going on, so we in negotiating so they can really just hear the story, my truth be told story, and that'll lead to the documentaries and movies, or whatever Hollywood or whatever we decide to do with it, personally. But everything's looking good. The land is looking good. Been working on the land. Like I said, we've been on an extended vacation. That's been great. We definitely need that. I worked so much, I needed a break, and I went out there and worked even more. I still worked every day of the vacation. I'm talking about, we staying in hotel suites, and I'm still getting in 11 o'clock at night, putting in 12-hour shifts and shit like that. But we got it done, though. We definitely got it done.
Wow. So. Hard worker, he loves to help, and he loves to learn.
Man, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about right there. When it come down to that, like, content you're just talking about, I always say, man, you showed me something that I've never seen nowhere else. And you have like those videos when you and Nip were so y'all look like Nip look like a kid, you look like a teenager.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I never saw that, but it shows how far y'all go back, man. So you got a lot of stuff that people have no idea of or have never seen. So
I'm putting it together though. Then when I have my actual project dates and all that different stuff, you know what I mean? I've been holding stuff back for years. It's never been a rush. It's all about timing. You know what I mean? It's all about God's timing. So, I've been wrapping up these projects, and I guess we gonna finally go ahead and put them out to the public.
Yeah. Man, that's what's up, bro.
The time is right. I think the time is right. We took a lot of time of mourning with Nip and the stuff going on with the city, everything that's going on. It's time for some real positive entertainment.
Yeah, man, that's amazing, brother. Like I said, I can't wait to see you bring it all out.
Yeah, we got a lane all to ourselves, positive. Everybody, that other road is filled up with all the negative stuff, so we're gonna go over here on this positive road and see who's gonna follow that way.
Yeah, facts, man. Man, this was great, brother. Every time I get to sit down with you, you know, and just, you know, bond and just talk about, you know, kind of catch up with everything. You know, a lot of people know, like, we'll get on the phone and talk about things, but we really get to chop it up and catch up when we sitting down here just you know chopping it up with all of you, you know what I'm saying? So you know, it's always dope, man, just to have, you know, this time, man, to just connect with you, brother. One thing that I always feel, the best duo that YouTube ever seen.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
The best duo right here, you know, Paul P and Cowboy, man. Hey, man, we love you all. Hey, Paul P, got Cowboy in the building. We out of here.
Let's get it.
Doses.
Yes, sir.